Hey guys, welcome to Y&R Daily Update YouTube channel. Today's topics: the young and the restless Lily Winters, on the shock of Damian's survival and Kane's new move. It's rare for Genoa City to have a peaceful day when the past has not yet slept, and then comes knocking on the door. For Lily Winters, the once fiery and broken love affair with Kane Ashby seemed to have ended with a decisive rejection. She wanted to move on, wanted to let go of Kane's unforgivable mistakes, wanted to close the old pages, but she couldn't pretend that a life had never been lost, a death named Damian. And then, at the moment, everything seemed settled. The horrifying truth ripped away the shroud of the past. Damian was still alive. It happened not with an anonymous phone call or a vague text message, but with Damian's own appearance in the darkness of a rainy afternoon. He stood before Lily, pale, strong, and desperate, begging her not to tell anyone that he had returned. He needed time. He needed shelter. And he needed Lily as his last anchor in a maze of conspiracy. For Lily, this was more than an emotional shock. It was a moral dilemma, a burden of responsibility for the truth, and above all, a potential threat to her twins. From that moment on, Lily found herself in the only position she could accept: a guide, but not an accomplice. She agreed to listen to Damian, agreed to help him survive the first hours of his resurrection, but she was also quick to draw the line. Lily kept pressuring Damian to drop whatever shady plans he still had, forcing him to understand that his secret existence was a trigger that could drag Charlie and Maddie into danger. Lily puts it bluntly: either Damian accepts her help, a safe, transparent plan with lawyers and authorities carefully considered, or she will be the one to tell the truth before it explodes into disaster. Meanwhile, Kane, who seems to have found his way back to Lily's heart with his NTH plea, hits an insurmountable wall of her determination. Lily refuses, not because she is heartless, but because she knows all too well the price of repeating the same mistakes. Broken trust cannot be patched up with a few promises, especially when dangerous holes are appearing around them. A man who just died has come back to life. Some network is still operating in the dark. And the honor of the entire Winters Asheb family is on the line. Lily's refusal left Kane depressed. And as always, he opted for a quick, strong, and solitary response: "I'll deal with the kids myself." It sounded like a responsible promise, but in Lily's ears, it sounded like an impulsive decision that could plunge Charlie and Maddie into a new emotional and legal to-go-for. As Damian explained, the picture that emerged was far more complicated than a staged crime scene. There was money missing and being hunted, an invisible partner pulling the strings, tricky contracts lurking in the Genoa City real estate system, and names Damian dared not utter. Lily quickly saw strange connections between this silent fortune and Kane's recent actions. She was in no rush to accuse anyone, but she was not naive either. She sets Damian a deadline: 48 hours to shake him off, hand over the evidence, and accept a safety plan she has devised. After 48 hours, Lily will be the one to bring him to light. For only light can stop this darkness from growing. Just as the strings are stretched to their breaking point, Holden Novak appears, a new face with a seemingly innocuous offer: a job opportunity. He talks about management, about restructuring, about managing the Genoa City real estate system as a task that requires integrity and organization. Ironically, Holden's advocate is Kane. Kane acts naturally, acting as if everything is simply a matter of hiring Holden to manage his assets. A normal business move for a man trying to prove he can provide for his children and his future. But to Lily, that normal fits too well with the gunpowder smell of Damian's story. She understands that in the chessboard of property, governance is just the veneer. Underneath lies power, secrecy, and a web of legalities that can easily trip newcomers up. So Lily sought Holden out. Their conversation was not a threat, but a sincere, clear, and well-founded warning. Lily recalled Damian's death, pointed out the strange loopholes surrounding recent transactions, and said bluntly: "If you do not heed my advice and continue to enter, you will find yourself at the center of a vortex whose depth you cannot fathom." Holden was speechless. He was no naive man. Subscribe our channel for more latest update. He saw the system in Lily's warning, but he also saw a career opportunity and a ticket into Genoa City's power network. After the meeting, Holden left with a thick stack of notes and his hands shaking slightly as he got his first real taste of the game he thought he knew. Kane, for his part, was losing patience with Lily's terms and deadlines. He felt left out of the center, the one he had always believed he belonged to. In his deep depression, Kane resolved to take matters into his own hands with the kids, to plan a reorganization of his schedule, his schooling, his extracurricular activities, and to create a stability that he could present in court if the worst case scenario, a legal battle, came to pass. He believed he was acting for his children. But what drove him to fast was the sense of loss. The hurt pride that Lily had given him when she refused to give him another chance. In the 2 days Lily had laid out, Damian spent his hours caught between conscience and fear. He could disappear again. He knew how, and the darkness was still waiting. But Lily, short and direct talks, made him see the only chance of survival to stop before he couldn't. Damian handed Lily a USB drive containing transaction data, a list of shell companies, and a few initials. Lily had no illusions that the single file could break the network. But it was a door wide enough for her to take the next step. Bring in a lawyer, control the leak, and build a secure tunnel to get Damian out of harm's way, if and only if he would reveal himself properly. Just as Lily was beginning to see the way, a small but disruptive incident occurred. Holden received an unmarked envelope containing only 2 things. A photo of him leaving the coffee shop after his conversation with Lily and a scrawled note. Curiosity is an expensive disease. He brought it to Kane, hoping for reassurance. Kane frowned, pounded his fist on the table, and said, "Let me handle it." The promise sounded familiar, reeking of protection, and left Holden genuinely confused. For the first time, he wondered which side of the line he stood on. Lily didn't wait for the second incident. She sent a copy of the data to her trusted lawyer and scheduled a private meeting with Kane. Not to rekindle the romance, but to lay out some non-negotiable co-parenting ground rules once the storm was at her door. She was clear about Charlie and Maddie's safety, about what she would do if anyone, whether Damian, Holden, or Kane himself, put the kids in harm's way. She was also straightforward. "I will protect them at all costs. If you want to prove you're a good father, start by not dragging innocent people into a game whose rules you're not sure of." Kane was silent for a long moment. In his eyes, Lily was still the woman he loved, steadfast, shrewd, uncompromising. But that very quality at the moment was a wall he didn't know how to climb without breaking something else. The story opens with a series of opposing forces. Lily demands transparency from Damian while also building a shield for the children. Kane demands a chance at love from Lily, but only receives a set of cooperative parenting rules, so he slides into the ambition of stability through unilateral decisions. Holden stands at a crossroads. On one side is a career opportunity greenlit by Kane. On the other is a cold warning from Lily and Damian. The darkest card in the game wavers between revealing and disappearing. Everything feels like a drumbeat before the climax. Just one name is called out, a contract is scrutinized down to the smallest detail, or a photo is leaked to the media, and the whole network will shake. And Lily knows that better than anyone. She closes the 48 hours with an uncompromising choice. Turn over the first packet of data to the proper authorities with the condition of witness protection and meet Damian in a public well-lit camera-lit location where a full lie would be difficult to tell. To Holden, she leaves a single line. "Stop today so you can choose tomorrow." And to Kane, she leaves 3 words, both a commitment and a boundary. You first. In the world of Genoa City, love can turn, trust can be broken, secrets can grow. But one thing, once Lily Winters puts it down on the table, will never change. Principles. It is those principles that will carry her, and though she loves through the storm, even if the price may be that she pushes a man begging for a chance into the bright light he fears most. The next chapter of this story will arrive not with fireworks, but with jagged details, a real estate contract that suddenly hangs, a call from an unknown number asking about Holden's health, a brief announcement about reopening Damian's death file, and a quiet evening where Lily, for the first time in years, allows herself to breathe deeply, not because it's safe, but because she knows she's on the right side. Subscribe our channel for more latest update. In the world of the young and the restless, where people chase love, power, and redemption, it's people like Lily, steadfast, rational, compassionate, who are the rare anchors that give the truth a chance to survive. And when the truth begins to stir, Genoa City will have to prepare for the next shockwave. The young and the restless. When Damian returns from the dead, Lily is on the brink of belief, and the real killer is revealed. Damian's shocking appearance blows away the fragile Lily Winters has built up after days of haunting her death. The moment the door opens, the man she believed was gone forever stands before her. Pale, Shaken, but alive, Lily loses control. For a few seconds, her heart races, her throat tightens, and questions race through her head. What happened that night? Who staged the death scene? And why did Damian choose to return now? The shop quickly gives way to Lily's survival instinct and disciplined nature. She needs the truth. All the truth before another person is killed. Damian begs her to keep quiet. He spoke of an invisible pursuit, a dark hand that had staged his death to cover up the evidence, and a web of dirty interests hidden behind seemingly legitimate transactions. Damian's account was broken and fragmented, but it was filled with sharp detail, calls from junk numbers, a black car without temporary plates, the smell of burning gasoline near a warehouse by the river, and a date he swore he had never confirmed. Lily was still shaking, but her eyes were gradually becoming cold and clear. She laid out the rules on the spot. She would give Damian temporary shelter, but in return, he had to tell her everything, nothing short of it, nothing left out. And once she had a clear picture, it was up to Lily to decide what to do next. Either bring it all out with legal protection, or slam the door shut if Damian still wanted to hide it. The rough truth slowly took shape. The night of the accident, Damian had been texted to the old shipping dock. He had been ambushed, dragged, and then everything went dark. When he woke up, he was in a musty room in the suburbs, bandaged all over, his phone gone. Whoever was behind it had planned long enough to stage the accident, create evidence of death, and spread a series of rumors. That thin veil had so far covered the truth because no one had a strong enough motive to tear it down. And it was at this point that Lily understood the opportunity to expose the source of the connection might only come once. Why did Damian return at this time? He confessed. He didn't dare trust anyone except Lily. He knew she had been hurt by him, had been angry, but he also knew that Lily was the only one who didn't let her emotions dictate the truth. That choice was both a compliment and a pressure. Lily swallowed her personal confusion and switched to investigation mode, establishing a timeline, narrowing down the motive, checking who had the ability and interest to stage a fake death. The first name that popped up inevitably was Kane. His history with Damian, his rift with Lily, and his impulsiveness at the time all made Kane seem like a perfect fit. There was plenty of circumstantial evidence, a gap in Kane's travel history, a brief call in the early hours of the morning, to an unknown number at a vague remark he'd made to a drinking buddy, "I need to clean up this mess before it eats me up." To an outsider, that was enough to make a conclusion. But Lily was in no hurry. She'd paid the price for believing and for jumping to conclusions. She quietly checked the facts. A gas station, camera 7 minutes away, had captured a man who looked like Kane. But the timing coincided with the last minute Kane swiped his card at a downtown pharmacy. The clerk's testimony confirmed that he'd stopped to ask for allergy medicine for one of his kids. A small detail that was hard to fake. Kane's car tracking at 2,342 put him in the opposite direction from the terminal. When she matches the time series with the actual distance, Lily realizes that Kane couldn't have been at both points. Suspicion shifts. If Kane isn't the killer, who benefits the most from everyone thinking he is? The answer chilled Lily to the bone. Holden Novak, her trusted advisor, the one who always seemed calm and composed, ready to take over when Lily was overwhelmed. Holden had appeared at the right time with a job opportunity, offering to help manage the properties in Genoa City, a complex, massive network that would be perfect for money laundering if someone was bold enough. It was Holden who advised Lily not to dig too deep into Damian's past, told her to let the law do its job, while also urging her to sign a few power of attorneys to quickly dispose of vulnerable assets. The advice sounded so reasonable that it almost defeated Lily's sharp intuition. Subscribe our channel for more latest updates. From there, Lily built a quiet but tight plan. She separated Damian from any contact that could be traced, moved him to a safe location under the guise of medical care. She had someone go through all the contracts Holden had ever touched, looking for accounting fingerprints like unusually inflated consulting fees, brand new shell companies with money flowing through like waterfalls. And most importantly, she recreated the night of the accident, the decoy calls, the route, the weather, the traffic cameras. An old clip that seemed useless because the camera was blurry revealed what Lily needed. A dark sedan with a sticker that said parking lot could only be used by people with a card. The face of the person behind the wheel was unclear, but the way he walked as he got out was too much like Holden. Lily asked Holden to meet her at her office under the pretext of finalizing the organizational structure and discussing new assignments. She did what he liked: neat files, sharp charts, moves that opened up mutual benefits. At the same time, she sent a summary of the evidence to an independent lawyer with instructions. If she didn't respond within 2 hours, the file would be automatically forwarded to the prosecutor. When Holden entered, Lily smiled, the smile of a businessman closing a deal, but her voice was even and cold. She asked Holden to explain the parking ticket coincidence. The anonymous email inviting Damian to the dock generated from the device that had logged into the office network. And the cash withdrawal the night before the accident. Holden didn't blink. He started with his usual tactics: denial, deflection, smoke. "Kane's the one you should ask," he said. "He has all the reasons." Lily didn't argue right away. She showed him a still from the camera. The outline of a shoulder and wrist with an old scar was the one from a skiing accident last winter that he bragged about. The calm on Holden's face cracked like glass. "You don't know who you're dealing with, Lily." That to anyone else would have been enough to make her flinch. But to Lily, it was just confirmation. In a decisive move, Lily turned the tables. She told the story from Holden's perspective. Damian knew too much about the shell companies, began to waver and wanted out. Holden, afraid of being exposed, devised a plan to invite Damian to the docks for a final talk. The plan was to take him down, stage an accident, and shift all suspicion onto Kane, who had a messy history and was in a weak position in court if things went south. She ended with a single question. "Why?" Holden let out a dry laugh. "Because in this city, the people who know how to legitimize their profits always win, and the people who don't disappear. The only weakness of those who believe they are invisible is that they underestimate their opponents." Lily was prepared. Her report, copies of the accounting data, the camera footage, and Damian's preliminary statement were sealed. She didn't wait for Holden to fall for a confession. She put him in a position where he had no way out. When he stood up and walked toward the door with a thin smile, 2 civilian investigators invited by Lily's lawyer for voluntary observation were already standing in the hallway. No handcuffs, no drama, just a formal "please cooperate" exchange. That made it clear the cards were up. Kane, meanwhile, faces a legacy of suspicion. He's not the killer, but he's almost become a scapegoat because of his history of bad behavior and impulsive decisions. Lily meets him in the park, where the 2 kids used to run around the monument and laugh. She doesn't apologize for the world, but she makes it clear, "I investigated you as a suspect, and I took you off the list myself. From now on, no matter what happens, my principles are protect the kids first, facts first, feelings second." Kane nods. He no longer presses for a chance at love. He promises a chance to grow up. Damian, the living witness who came back from the dead, is placed in temporary protective custody while the case is investigated. He's not allowed to approach Lily at will, and he no longer has the right to decide her route. Lily set the final line. Either he cooperated completely, or she would let the law do its thing without any excuses. Damian understood. He chose cooperation. And Holden, men like him, rarely gave up so easily. A high-priced lawyer was hired. A few connections were called, but unlike before, Holden was no longer operating in the shadows. The contracts he touched were scrutinized. The shell companies were frozen. The assistants who had been the conduit, knowingly or unknowingly, began to tell. Subscribe our channel for more latest update. A system is only strong when no one dares to look. And this time, Lily forced everyone to look. The outcome up and up many ways. Holden could find a way to escape, dragging a few people down with him. Damian could become the key to bringing down the whole network. Kane stood before the opportunity to prove himself a steady father instead of a hothead, and Lily, as usual, paid the price both physically and mentally for choosing the hardest path, the path of truth. But if Damian's return was an opportunity, Lily has turned it into leverage. She's unmasked the man behind the death, saved a man from being wrongly accused, and set a precedent that in Genoa City, power plays can't stay in the gray. The episode from The Young and the Restless centers on Lily Winters as she grapples with the shocking return of Damian, a man presumed dead, and the unfolding conspiracy threatening her family and Genoa City's real estate empire. After years of pain and fractured trust, Lily is forced to confront a complex web of deceit, power struggles, and hidden motives surrounding Damian's staged death. Damian's unexpected reappearance places Lily in a moral and emotional dilemma. Protect her family, especially her twins, Charlie and Maddie, while unraveling the truth behind the conspiracy. Lily's past with Kane Ashby, strained by betrayal, and broken promises complicates matters further. Cain, desperate to prove himself as a stable father, resists Lily's firm boundaries and the cooperative parenting rules she imposes. Meanwhile, a new player, Holden Novak, enters the scene offering a seemingly innocuous job opportunity managing Cain's real estate holdings. However, Lily's instincts warn her of darker intentions beneath his calm demeanor, as Damian reveals fragmented but vital details about the staged accident, involving missing money, shell companies, and shadowy figures. Lily sets a strict 48 deadline for Damian to cooperate fully or face exposure. Her investigation uncovers that Cain, initially suspected due to circumstantial evidence, is innocent, shifting suspicion toward Holden Novak. Holden's involvement in the conspiracy becomes clearer through Lily's meticulous gathering of evidence, including surveillance footage and financial irregularities. Lily's strategic confrontation with Holden leads to his exposure and legal intervention, preventing further damage and safeguarding her family. Cain accepts a new role focused on stability and co-parenting, abandoning his pursuit of rekindling romance with Lily. Damian, meanwhile, becomes a key witness under protective custody, forced to cooperate or face the law. Ultimately, Lily's steadfast principles and rational approach allow her to navigate the treacherous power plays, protect her children, and uphold justice in Genoa City. The episode closes with the promise of further revelations and consequences as the truth begins to unravel, signaling a new chapter of conflict and resolution. Damian, presumed dead, returns alive, shocking Lily Winters and reigniting past conflicts. Lily demands transparency and cooperation from Damian, setting strict terms to protect her family. Holden Novak offers a job managing Cain's real estate but is revealed as the mastermind behind the conspiracy. Lily gives Damian 48 hours to hand over evidence or face exposure, emphasizing urgency and stakes. Cain struggles with Lily's boundaries, focusing on stabilizing his role as a father rather than rekindling romance. Surveillance footage and financial data expose Holden's involvement in staging Damian's death. Legal intervention and protective custody ensure justice while safeguarding the innocent and vulnerable. The return of Damian as a catalyst for uncovering deep-rooted corruption. Damian's survival is not just a plot twist but a pivotal moment that triggers the revelation of a vast conspiracy involving real estate manipulation and staged crimes. His presence forces characters to confront hidden truths rather than ignore or bury the past. Lily's role as the moral compass and protector. Throughout the episode, Lily embodies principles over emotions, balancing her protective instincts for her children with the need for justice. Her refusal to be an accomplice highlights the importance of boundaries and accountability in times of crisis. Cain's transformation from impulsive lover to devoted father. Cain's journey shows growth and maturity as he shifts focus from rekindling a romantic relationship with Lily to ensuring his children's stability. This change underscores themes of responsibility and the complexities of co-parenting in troubled circumstances. The use of legal and investigative tools as weapons against corruption. Lily's methodical approach gathering evidence, engaging lawyers, scrutinizing contracts demonstrates how law and due process are vital in combating hidden networks of power. It reflects a realistic portrayal of how truth can be unearthed systematically. Holden Novak as a symbol of deceptive appearances and hidden agendas. Holden's calm and composed exterior masks a manipulative and dangerous figure exploiting the city's legal and financial systems. His character highlights the theme of betrayal by trusted insiders, adding depth to the narrative's tension. The 48-hour deadline as a narrative device to heighten tension. The imposed timeline drives the plot forward and forces characters into decisive action, illustrating how time-sensitive decisions can escalate stakes in drama and real life. Power dynamics within Genoa City's elite. The episode explores the intersection of love, power, and money, showing how personal relationships are intertwined with broader schemes. The real estate empire serves as a battleground for control, influence, and survival, reflecting socio-economic themes relevant to contemporary society. Lily's unwavering stance, Cain's evolving priorities, Damian's vulnerability, and duplicity combine to create a multifaceted story about trust, betrayal, and the pursuit of truth in a city where nothing is as it seems. This episode not only advances the ongoing saga but also reinforces core themes of justice, family, and resilience.